Welcome to Mercy Medical Center's live webinar. Today we are looking ahead to the start of a new school year and we'll be discussing children's self-esteem. Joining us is Deanna Glass, a social worker with Mercy's Birthplace in Pediatrics. After a discussion, she will take questions from our audience. To submit your questions anytime during the discussion, go to the window in the upper right-hand corner of your screen and type in your question. If you don't see the screen, click on the orange box with the white arrow. Your questions will be anonymous, completely confidential. So let's get started, Deanna.
Hi, Lynn. Thank you for having me today, and I'm excited about this topic we're going to discuss, especially with school starting and everybody getting ready and excited. So let's go over and let's go review what we need to do to build our child's self-esteem. First thing we're going to look at your slide, is self-esteem. What is it? You'll often hear many definitions of self-esteem, but self-esteem is a person's core belief about himself or herself. It's a cornerstone from which many of us build our beliefs, our feelings, and our actions regarding our attitude about life. Our self-esteem is reflected in our actions, both in how we do things as well as what we do. A healthy self-esteem reflects a positive attitude about life, and a person is more likely to succeed in life. Also included in that is self-image. How a person sees themselves is an indication of their self-esteem. Self-image can include many perspectives, such as how we see our body, talent abilities, accomplishing tasks, and self-talk. What do we tell ourselves each day? Also is attitude about oneself. Self-worth, how one feels about themselves. What parents or others have said to a child impacts that attitude. And the last one, this one is self-respect. A child needs to respect themselves as well as others. A proper respect for oneself and one's worth as a person is due to that respect, their character, and their conduct. It is the desire to promote one's well-being. Next, we're going to look at specifically today a healthy self-esteem. Look at confidence, motivation, attitude, and responsibility. First is confidence. Remember, a healthy self-esteem is crucial. I talked about being a cornerstone of a positive attitude towards living. Although building a healthy self-esteem in your child is a lifelong process, the foundation of that self-esteem is established in childhood. Confidence. A strong confidence in who we are and what we do indicates a positive self-esteem in your child. It may not mean that the child succeeds at the task at hand, but the fact that they are willing to try reflects their confidence. Also is motivation. What motivates a child is an indication of their self-esteem. If a child feels good about what they have done and they seek your praise, what a great way to continue motivating them. And never hold back on praise, parents. Give it continuously and often. Next is attitude. An attitude a child has about themselves is a direct correlation from their parent or parents. Parents, you are the mirror from which your child reflects back how they feel about themselves and who they see themselves as. And the last is responsibility. Responsibility is learned by making choices, following through, and accepting the outcomes and consequences of those choices and decisions. Teaching children to accept and carry out responsibility is a key factor in building a healthy self-esteem. Now, how are you going to build your child's self-esteem? I got asked this question yesterday. When do we start? You start now. Don't wait. Whether your child's starting preschool for the first time or you're sending that child off to their last year in high school, start building their self-esteem or continue to build it. They need it. It's a process that lasts throughout their life and helps them to act responsibly. It also helps them to cooperate with others and have the confidence to try new things. Outlining, especially with school starting, I thought of the ABCs with building a healthy self-esteem in your child. And nothing else that you take away from today, remember these three things. A is for attitude. Your attitude towards your child is crucial in how your child sees themselves. This shines out in what you do and how you do it. Let your attitude reflect how much you enjoy your child. As I said before, your attitude is a mirror in how your child sees themselves. Believe. Believe in your son or daughter. If you believe in them, they will believe in themselves as well. Let them know you believe in them by your own words and actions. And communication. Talk to your children. Let them know how special they are to you and how much you love them. Take time for them. Play with them. Children need an atmosphere that is safe, where they can express themselves openly and freely. You do that by your communication, your words, and your actions. Also, there is power in words. I'm a true believer in this. Parents, the words you use can lift a child's self-esteem greatly. Praise your child often. I say at least 4 times more than you criticize them. Simple words, parents, such as dumb or stupid, may seem harmless to you, but your child hears and it indicates to them their self-worth. I also want to address something to teachers and coaches here as well. Please remember the words you use when teaching or instructing a child, no matter what age, has a vast impact on how well they do or how well they perform. Never underestimate your influence on your student. Now we're going to look at the top 10 tips for parents. And these are simple, outlined areas that I think maybe can help you to look and understand what to do and how you can do it. Because as I've said often, parents, you are the reflection to your children. You have the greatest influence on a child's belief about himself or herself. Letting your child know that he or she belongs and is doing well, is contributing, can help them develop a healthy self-esteem. And keep these things in mind as you raise your child. First, children are special. Tell them. Let them know. Show them. Make sure to tell your child how special they are to you. Kids need to be able to look at you and hear you say through your attitudes and behaviors that you approve of them and believe in them. It's been said that the eyes and ears of parents become mirrors into which children look in order to define themselves in terms of their self-confidence and self-worth. Your kids need to look at you and know that you approve of them and believe in them. Show them that you love them. Let your child know you love him or her for who he or she is, not for what they do. Make it a habit to show your child your love many times throughout the day. And let your child know just how special they really are. Example maybe, list 3 of your child's great qualities and post them in your refrigerator. And add to these qualities from time to time. And celebrate with your child their good qualities, and do it often. Secondly, teach them to contribute. Contributing enhances our feelings of belonging, providing the basis for continued learning and strengthening self-esteem. Children need to contribute to the family and to others, and they can do this in various ways. You can help by assigning them responsibilities that are appropriate for their age. When they do contribute, remind them of what they are doing. And we're going to outline a little bit later in the webinar ways to do this and some ideas and tasks for that. But for instance, parents, let's say you have that 3-year-old that wants to help with the dishes. And moms, we've all been there. We're in a hurry. We have limited time. We either want to shoo them out of the kitchen or have them go play or do something else. This is the time to teach them to contribute. Pull up that chair, let them play in the water, let them dry that plastic cup or dish, and give them the time they need as you're teaching them. Or about that 9-year-old son who wants to go out and help dad with the car in the garage, and dad's in a hurry and trying to fix this or that. It's an opportune time to teach that son what to do or how to do it. Children learn how to work with others by learning how to contribute and to cooperate within the family. This is where we will review some of these techniques a little bit later. 3, teach them to think, reason, and make decisions. Just monitor the process so they don't put themselves in harm's way. Every outcome of a decision doesn't have to be perfect or completely in line with you as the parent that might decide that it's the best way. Answering questions with a non-threatening question or a thought-provoking response. You want your child to think with you, so one day they can do it on their own apart from you. This is where I'm going to veer off a little bit on cell phones. I was reading an article not long ago how cell phones are making children more dependent on us as parents. They don't have to take the time to think or reason or problem solve because they pick up the phone and quickly call the parent. Now, there's times that's extremely important. I know that, and technology is awesome about that, but sometimes it also has hindered our children. And just think about that when they use that quickly to pick up that cell phone. Take time to think it through with them and ask them what they would do. 4, on this, be available. Be available to your children. Children need to know that you're there for them, to help them, to hear them out, to listen to their perspective, give opinions, and help them figure out what to do. Talk to them attentively, not over the TV or cleaning over the computer at work. Children need to have eye contact. They need to know you're listening with everything you have at that time. Once in a while, parents, it doesn't hurt to throw out there to your child that you're there for them. This is especially important, I think, for teenagers. You may not think they're listening or it's important, but it is. Just let them know you're there for them whenever they need you. And listen to your child. When your child shares something with you and you want to give them not only that undivided attention, but listen carefully. Don't give advice too quickly. Sometimes don't give advice at all, just unless asked for. Don't ridicule or shame them for their thoughts or their behaviors. This is where I'm going to also hone in on quality versus quantity. I think it's very important that the quantity of time you give your child is as important, if not more so, than the quality that's given. They need time with you. They need time to spend with you, and whatever the activity may be, not just the quality of time. Number 5, talk to your child. Talk openly and freely. We talk to people that we enjoy being around. Same with your child. Teach your kids that they can talk to you about anything, that their thoughts are valuable and worth listening to. Do not want to put them down, compare them, judge, embarrass them, make them feel inadequate. If you don't have the answer at that time right then, let them know. But get back to them, and soon. If you say you're going to do it, parents, follow up and do it. Children sense that they belong by the way their parents talk to them and act towards them. Tell your child repeatedly, again, how much you love them, how special they are. And this is what I'm going to say to those parents with those younger children. Not just because I said so. And answer their questions. Not a quick flip of the voice to say, I don't want to take the time right now. 6, teach them to achieve something. Your child wants to be productive, responsible, and have good results. They can learn many things, tasks around the home, in the neighborhood. They can volunteer, do school activities. The more kids achieve, the more reasons others have the opportunities to appreciate what they do and compliment them for it. Nothing will make a child be more than when someone tells them what a good job they did and how important or how successful they were at something. Competence is the root of self-confidence. Achievement and good results and a strong work ethic help build a child's self-esteem. Help your child find opportunities and encourage your child to explore and improve in those areas. And let your child try. Even if your child has difficulty with a new task or skill, don't quickly jump in or take over. Be patient, sit back, and let your child do it. If it's maybe a task that's a little too complex for them, break it down for simple steps for them and watch them see them progress as they go through that. Don't ask your child to do a task or a skill that may be too complicated for them, especially if in front of others. Be sensitive to your child about that. And praise their accomplishments. Even if the completed work doesn't meet your standard, mom or dad, find something positive to praise them about. And in this, also encourage practice. If they're learning something new, it doesn't happen overnight. But encourage them to practice and praise them when they do it. example of that, small child learning to ride a bike. They don't get on that little bicycle first time and take off. You'll see dad holding onto the bike and steadying them and running behind them. But each time they do it, it gets it a little closer to achieve that task. And the same thing with any new task your child's doing. Don't expect perfectionism the first or second time. Encourage them to practice and talk to them about their improvements with each practice. Number 7, understand that there is a purpose in life. Help your children know that they can achieve something good, decent, and meaningful in what they do. As parents, we do this by our words and example. Think about it. How often do you go through the actions of your job and task at home in a mundane way or complain about it? Your child watches you and picks up on this. They need to understand that you feel a sense of purpose in life, then they too will have that. 8, let them know you enjoy them. It's fun to be around your child, but let them know you like hanging around them. And try not to crowd them. Children love to bring pleasure. They like to feel that they have you there in the corner. They need you to problem solve. They don't want to feel they're a burden. They don't want to feel they're an imposition. Laugh with them. Laugh at them when they're funny. This is when my youngest son he can be hilarious and have one-liners, and I will often just laugh at him, and I repeatedly tell him how much he makes me laugh. And nothing is more important to me than to see the beam on his face when he does that. They like to know that they're entertaining, and they entertain you as well. And let them know that you appreciate them. And be sincere about it. Thanking them is so important. And it's also just a very good and positive reward, even for the little things. Thank them each time they do it. Also, I put under here having family time. Having regular family time to have fun together, like playing a game, playing cards, outside maybe a basketball pickup game in the family, having family meals. How often have we heard this? But that is very important for family time to build your child's self-esteem. These are the times you don't discuss problems or concerns or disappointments. This is just time to have fun and enjoy your child or children. Let me give you a couple examples of this. Playing with your children, maybe when they're little, just rolling around the floor, reading to them, doing crafts, hands-on activities. At elementary age, it's playing outside with them, going to their games, their recitals, their concerts. Play the video games with them, even if you don't understand it, but take that time. A couple activities maybe for junior high and high school. Watch them do whatever it is that they do, and make sure they know you're enjoying every minute of it. Every minute that you're with them, they need to know how important that is to you. And then help them. Junior high and high school students do need your help, even though they may not ask for it. They may be embarrassed. But if they don't come to you, they will ask someone else. Show how important other relationships are to you. This is really important in assisting your child's self-confidence to blossom. If you're married, be positive in front of your child. Touching, complimenting, hugging, hearing words like I love you, thank you for your help. Those are very important in helping a child develop those relationships. If you're not married, make sure they know that someone else in your life is special to you. This could be your own parent, a relative, a significant other. Children need to see genuine love modeled in a healthy way. And last on these 10 top tips for parents, believe in them. I'd also go back to the ABCs of building that healthy self-esteem. This will help your child's self-esteem grow so quickly. Believe in them and prove that you believe in them by giving them space to fail sometimes as well as space to succeed. Your kids need to know that you're in their corner, that you believe in them, that you believe they can do anything and anything that's significant in their lives. In the process, just be careful not to favor one child over the other because of appearance, better grades, more athletic, their personality, whatever it may be fair in their home. Every child is special at home. At home, the ground should always be level. Now let's go on to age-appropriate techniques and ideas for your children. And sometimes it's just, we need a little time to think it through and to get some ideas of how we can do that in our children. At the first age we're looking at is the 4 to 5-year-olds. So they're talking about going back to school. This may be a case for some of you parents going to school for the first time with your child, the preschooler, those 4 to 5-year-olds that are starting school. What are some tasks or skills that they could do at this age that may be very appropriate? And also at the same time, letting them make choices while they're doing it. For instance, at this age, letting them get ready themselves for school. Maybe picking out their clothes. Parents, try not to make this a battle in the morning. Maybe do it the night before. And for a 4 or 5-year-old, don't open the closet door and say, what do you want to wear? Maybe pick out 2 to 3 items, and from there give them a choice. Let them make their bed. Maybe pick up their clothes in their room, letting them get dressed on their own. Brushing or combing their hair. You might want to touch up on that if you think it's important. These are also things in the home at this time. They can help with dusting, sweeping, clearing off the table. They can pick up toys, keep their own bedrooms clean. They can water plants. By 5, children can make their own sandwiches. Maybe pour a bowl of cereal. Clean up after the meals, put the dishes in the sink, rinse them off. Also here, let them help with grown-up activities. Talked a little earlier about washing dishes or helping in the garage or wash the car. Maybe even helping them, cook. You're right there beside them, but let them help out because children at this age like to mimic their parents' behaviors. Now let's look at those 6 to 9-year-olds, the early grade school age. Allow them tasks on their own at this age, such as sorting the dirty laundry, taking out the garbage, putting away clean dishes, unloading the dishwasher. 6 and 7-year-olds, they can do things like feeding the pet, any pet or pets you may have, maybe even taking them for a walk, if safe area or with other family members. They can set the table at this age. Let them pick out what they want to put out on the table. 8 and 9-year-olds, they can run their own bathwater, answer the phone, take messages, help with the laundry. At this age, they could probably walk, for instance, pets on their own as long as you feel it's safe. How about the 10 to 12-year-olds, the tweens that we call it? This is a time where chores they can do in and around the home. Also, this is an age where you might start to see parents no interest in chores. A little coaxing can be a good time. Maybe this is where you start introducing an allowance. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. There's different views on that. And parents, you need to be in agreement on that. This is a time that maybe you want to introduce that. This is a time when they can load and unload the dishwasher on their own or wash dishes. They can help with younger siblings at home. They can maybe remodel or rearrange their bedroom. It's a fun time for them, and they feel like they have some ownership. They can make their lunches. They can vacuum on their own. Also, I would say this is a time, and then the next age limit, the 13 to 18-year-olds, I suggest it's a time when you put a list out. Rather than just telling them, because I guarantee, especially from that 13 to 18-year-old age, they will forget. You may come home from work, you've told them, and they honestly don't remember. So this is the time when I start saying, make a list for them, make a checklist, and also give a time frame. When you want it done. Is it by the end of the day? Is it by the time you get home from work? Is it within the next hour? Give children in this age and to teenagers a time frame that you want it done. Teenagers have no interest in chores. So we're looking at that 13 to 18-year-olds. They really, this is not an interest in their life. It's not the here and now, and it's just plain not fun. But it's important for them for accountability. It's also a good time for jobs outside of the home, maybe. This is an area for within the family. A good time to maybe have them help pay bills. See just what it is you do and how you do it within the family allowance or household. Cleaning bathrooms, doing dishes, planning and making a meal, mowing and helping or doing the yard work, grocery shopping. That's always an interesting one. Let them make out the grocery list, give them a certain amount of money, and let them go to the grocery store, maybe a little bit older as a teenager, and look at that shopping list to make it out and plan their meals. It's quite an eye-opener for the older teenager. This might be also a really good time to have them open up their own checking account. 16, 17, maybe a little younger, depending on where you're at in your family, but open up their own checking or savings account. Parents, I would suggest don't do it for them. Take them and do it with them. Let them answer the questions as the banker's asking. But this is a great time for responsibility and keeping accountability. Maybe they can help plan your vacation. Where would they like to go? With our technology, get on the internet, what's available, what's the cost factor. Allowances is what I talked a little bit before, but this is a time also for that teenage is the time to introduce that. And like I said, parents, families have different views on that. Also, I'm going to talk a little bit here about what I call the helicopter parent, the parents that hover over their child with these different tasks. It's a concept in a term you hear out there today. And you'll see it when children are going to look for their first job, possibly. Great time for children to go out and apply for jobs outside the home, working. The parent, I've heard of parents that actually will call the employer and to boast about their child. Parents, leave your children do this on their own. Yes, they need help maybe filling out the resume, thinking through questions they might have, but you don't need to hover over them. Let them do it. Give them a chance to do it, because accomplishing those goals or tasks, even a personal interview, is a great way for those teenagers to build their self-esteem. Next, we're going to look at school. In the classroom, school activities, extra activities. In the classroom at school, how can you as a parent help your child to build that healthy self-esteem? With school going back, helping your child overcome negative ideas that they may have picked up about themselves is essential if you want them to be able to engage in learning, take risks, and explore and appreciate their own talents. Teaching a child to know that they have value and to feel good about their abilities and satisfactions that comes from personal achievement is one of the greatest things you can do for your child, an aspect that they will see through the rest of their lives. You as a parent, get involved. Know who your teachers are for your children. Know the other children in your classroom. Know their parents. Volunteer for an activity or donate when a need arises. Be involved with your children, or just to be involved in the classroom or with the teachers. Go to the PTA or the PTL meetings. Know what's going on in the school. Also with school activities. Encourage positive peer experiences here. Look for activities that peers can interact with your child and help your child feel successful and accepted, such as participating in sports, joining a club, being part of the band or choir. You've got cheerleading. I believe in, for instance, in our high school, I think there are over 25 different clubs or groups that a child can belong to, or open to starting a new one. Be involved here as well. Go to that sporting event. Go to the band concert. Watch them in the homecoming parade. Go to the school play. Go on the field trip. I have heard parents say, my child doesn't even know if I'm there. But trust me, they'll know if you're not there. What about extra activities? I talked about being at school, but there are also activities that go on outside of school, outside of the classroom, and other activities that are not school-sponsored. Help your child find what they enjoy and be a part of it. Let's look at community events such as art displays, museums, farmers market this summer, volunteering at your church, helping out such as the clean-out efforts we just had in Vinton. It's a great way to be involved and help your child be involved in activities of giving, which can definitely build the child's self-esteem in a healthy and positive manner. Technology. I couldn't go by this without building a healthy self-esteem with looking at technology today. And you're seeing it younger and younger online, the Facebook, the Twittering, the cell phones. So many activities involve the computer and cell phones. And you have the emailing, you have the texting, the instant messaging, like I said, the Facebook, the sexting. Be aware of what your child is doing, no matter what age. Seems to be starting younger and younger. This is an area that I feel can greatly harm and devalue your child's self-esteem if you're not aware of what's occurring at this level. The messages that are sent to another child can be so damaging. Parents, stay involved in this area of your child's life. Know what words are being said, know what acronyms mean, know the lyrics to songs, watch the pictures that they put on Facebook. Also here, empower your children to stand up for themselves and for others. I know we've all heard and read heard on TV and read in the newspaper of the bullying that happens here, the put downs. You need to know, and your children need to know, that it's important to stand up for who they are, and things are not allowed. It's okay not to be a friend to everyone on Facebook. I recently was talking to a parent whose child had 1,800 friends on their Facebook. And I said to them, that's not possible, but they were befriending anyone who came in. That is not healthy and not appropriate. You have no idea who's interacting with that child, nor is it healthy or beneficial. So just be aware. And that father had no idea until he was told and to verify it with his daughter. So be aware here. The last thing before questions that will come up, but there's a couple of quotes. And first I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity today, Lynn, and also for Mercy Medical Center for this webinar. And we'll take questions as well. But I want to leave you with a couple of quotes that I found regarding building that child's self-esteem. Your children will become what you are, so be what you want them to be. And the other one was, children are not things to be molded, but are people to be unfolded.
Very good, Deanna. Thank you so much for all this excellent information. To remind our audience, your questions can be submitted from the box in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. We'll wait for the question to come in. Okay, let's see, where should we have several here. How about this? Please touch base on building self-esteem in a child with speech, language difficulties who is not autistic. That's a great question. And I would say, first of all, make sure that you have the assistance you need in the community. There are many resources. Lynn County is actually rich in resources. And if you have a child that you feel has speech or language difficulties, first of all, give them the professional assistance they need, whether it's having them evaluated, touch base. Grant Wood is great about that. But building their self-esteem, you know your child better than anyone. So know what their level is at, what their task is at. I would say probably the one part here is giving your child time to express themselves. If there's language barriers or some speech difficulties, I can think of children maybe who stutter. For instance, don't finish a sentence for them. That's important, or don't jump ahead. Give them the time and the patience to let them express themselves. And again, focus on the positive. What is it your child does? And maybe not maybe in the speech and language, but if there's an activity they do, focus on the positive that they're doing at that time and zone in on that. That might help look at an area of self-esteem rather than focusing on the verbal. We're a very verbal society, but there's so many cues with nonverbal that we can help build. We're not even aware of that we're doing for our child. Very good. Now we have a question of his son who is hilarious, and when we laugh, he gets mad because he's being serious. He's 7. So any advice on how to deal with the sense of humor of 7-year-olds? You got hilarious to sensitivity here. And that's the hard part as parents, because you're trying to decipher quickly if he's looking to be funny or if he's being serious. Now, he may express himself in a humorous way because that's all he knows. And it's an easy way to express for a child is to be funny, because it's not as intimidating. It may not be as hard for them, so they use humor to express themselves. And maybe right then is to clarify. At 7, things are still literal. They take your word for your word. So I would ask, take the time to reiterate back to your child what they're saying, and you can't help but laugh, but watch your son's facial expressions at this time, and ask back and rephrase maybe that question or that comment, so you have a couple of seconds to decipher whether he's being serious or just trying to be funny. Very sensitive topic potentially there. You know, we have a question about getting to know other children or other children's parents in the classroom. Any advice on how to get started?
That's another great question. I guess it would help to probably age of the child here might make a difference, because if your child's young, it's a little easier because they're always asking for volunteers in the classroom from the preschool to the kindergarten, first grade, even second grade. That's a great time to volunteer, to assist with an event, maybe help plan a school party. Great way to rub shoulders with other parents. Ask if it's younger age. I know they still do the show and tell, but go and whenever your child's taking something in, could just sit in and just listen to that if your child wants them there, if that's an opportunity. As children get older, that's harder. If they haven't gone through the school system, it's very difficult. But be the parent involved one time, and it can be one task. I'll be honest, my children started high school, new high school, did not know parents, children. It was very hard at first to get in, but I just volunteered for something and just took the lead from another parent, asked questions, and observed. And it's a great way to get involved and to start to get involved. It can be harder for parents who maybe are a little more laid back and a little more reserved, but it's also a great time if your child sees you do it, they in turn will do it.
It just reminded me, get started. Get started now.
Get started now.
Get start and baby steps and go on from there.
Okay, I have another question. This is from a parent. I'm concerned about my son's soccer coach. He's very negative and seems to put down the kids who do not play as well as he expects. How involved should I get as a sideline parent?
I would say first, talk to your child. See where they're at, see what they feel. Your perception of what the coach is doing and their perception may not be one of the same. So I would say check where your child's perception is at. And then there are just behaviors that are appropriate and inappropriate. So the next step would be, if you felt what you needed to do, is go to that coach one-on-one, whoever the coach may be. Soccer in this case, and go one-on-one away from everyone else. Ask the coach if he has a time that, you could touch base with him or her and talk to him one-on-one. Don't do it in front of other parents or other children. Don't make a scene. Just have a one-on-one. Maybe help that coach understand your child better. Let them know what is your child's personality traits or a better way to interact with your child. Some children shut down when they're being yelled at. Most kids will, but some do better with a word or phrase. So I would say go to the coach one-on-one. Try that next step. That would be the next step I try.
Great place to start. Do you have any specific advice for a child, a 6-year-old, in split homes? Parents have different parenting views, and these parents have, in this situation, parents have never been together since the child was born. So really addressing that situation of split homes and different parenting styles.
We address this, it's happening more frequently. This is not unusual at all. And especially with the area that I work with, birthplace and pediatrics, I see this often with parents. So first of all, Mom, you're not alone out there, as many parents are not, mothers or fathers. But specific advice, I don't know the relationship you have with the father, but if you can get them to at least have a chance to talk, if you cannot do the two of you, the first thing I would say, honestly, is get some counseling. Get some neutral ground. That would be the first thing. The second thing is keep it about your child. The one thing I will say is both of you love your son. So keep it about the child and what's best for the child. Don't bring in your personal opinions or your personal griefs or gripes about that other parent. Keep it focused on the child, what's best for your child. And just keep reiterating that. I tell parents that repeatedly when I'm talking to children that come from 2 homes. And different parenting views. Remember, we often bring into parenting our own, the way we were parented. Healthy or unhealthy, good, bad, difference of opinion. But we bring to our own parenting skills some we like and some we want to change. I would say evaluate your parenting skills, their parenting skills, where they've come from, and then look at the views, because many issues are not right or wrong, they're difference of opinion. And so to answer Mom specifically, advice is if you can talk to Dad, if not, get neutral territory, get a neutral person just to say what it is, because you want your child to be the best they can be, not only at 6 but older.
And family counseling, you mentioned
family
family
counseling. I'm talking about, yes, it'd be counseling between couples, but family counseling, because especially I've seen working with children, counseling children coming from different homes or 2 homes, they're very good, they don't mean to be, but they're great at splitting moms and dads. They're great at manipulating, and peering one against the other. And if parents don't talk, they can get caught up in that, not realizing that it's how detrimental it is to the child.
Okay. Another question over here, you mentioned allowances a couple times in your presentation. I've heard pros and cons of giving allowances to school-age children. What is your opinion?
That opinion can vary, like I said, from family to family. I think to do allowances, it can be monetary allowances, and do a screen or highlight on the refrigerator, outline, and set a time, set an amount there. Don't just say, well, when you get this done, but set an amount, what needs to be done. I've heard parents that have, applied an amount for an activity or a task. I've heard parents have a set amount and then take it away. I personally like the giving rather than taking away. I think it's more of a positive, healthy way to encourage someone to accomplish something. Now, we always think money-wise. I mean, if you do a good job at our work, we get, reimbursed for that or paid for that. But it could be, for younger children, so many check marks, and then they get to go to their favorite store. You want to see a tween be happy for a young girl? Get so much done and then go get a new outfit. Talk in the language that your child accomplishes and appreciates.
Good advice here. Oh, now this is an easy one. Could you please repeat the two quotes at the end? And these will be available in a day or so on our website. But Deanna, do you want to repeat those?
I would love to. The first quote, your children will become what you are. So be what you want them to be. And the second quote, children are not things to be molded, but are people to be unfolded.
Love those. Very good. Oh, we have another question. We're talking about bullying. My daughter was bullied at school last year, and I feel her teacher often ignored the problem. What advice can you give to me to start off the school year with a new teacher?
That's a whole topic in and of itself, isn't it, Lynn? Bullying. We're seeing it more. I really put a lot of emphasis because of the bullying, because of our technology. I think it's a negative side of technology. So specifically to the question on bullying is, first of all, talk with your daughter one-on-one. Let her know how special she is. Let her know her gifts and talents. That's extremely important for her to be aware of. If you feel it's continuing, sometimes it never hurts. I actually gave this advice to my cousin a while back, and they were having problems with another girl who had been a friend. So I don't know if this is the case here. And I suggested that maybe they're just misunderstood, and maybe do an activity where you invite a few girls over and include that child, because sometimes when you get to know someone, you are more accepting of them. A lot of times bullying goes on because they don't understand or don't know each other, and they pick out a flaw. Girls can be very hurtful in this area. Boys kind of tend to let it go sometimes. I'm not saying boys don't do it, but girls can pick on how somebody looks, an outfit they wear, how their hair may be, walk by and make a comment, and let your daughter know to stand up for herself. If it's not addressed then of course the next step I would go to the teacher. Does the teacher see it? Are they aware of it? Do they make aware of it? If you feel, again, powerless or nothing's being done, then take it to the next step. I believe in the chain of command.
Very good. And if anyone is interested in more information about bullying, we did a live webinar on bullying, mostly girls and bullying, a couple months ago. So if you go to our website, which is mercycare.org/live, and click on the links, and you'll be able to listen to that webinar for additional information there.
Okay. Can I bring up one more thing I was talking about with girls and boys too, but this is something I have a very strong and very heartfelt about, is I'm going to talk a little bit here for those, I guess, the tweens and the teenagers. And I see this with girls, since you brought up, the bullying with girls. But moms and dads, please equip your daughter with the empowerment to be who they are, but also to stand up for themselves. In this day and age, language is used so freely. And I've seen, working in, of course, the workplace, but working with teenagers for 15 years, don't allow girls, and moms, don't do this yourself, to put themselves down, guys as well, but don't let the girls put themselves down, make references to themselves that are inappropriate, use words or titles that are inappropriate, or to one another. Then they want to know why people or other kids are hard on them. But let them, teach them to use words that are appropriate. What sounds crazy, but about women, a woman's anatomy. I will hear that repeatedly, and it needs to be corrected. Don't allow your daughter, the girls too that are starting to date, don't allow them to be put down by that guy who's taking them out. Vice versa. Don't allow the girls to put down the guys, because if they accept that once, they will accept it again. If you hear them rationalizing it out, it didn't mean it, that is so important. That's a red flag. And also what happens in the families. I talk about families so much, but we even within the families, moms and dads, don't put each other down. Don't use words that are derogatory to each other or to your children. When I talk about the power of words, parents, be so aware of the words you use toward your children, and don't allow them to put you down either as parents.
Really model the behavior, just as your quote said. You talked a little bit about technology. Can you give any guidelines on when you should allow your child to be on Facebook?
I think, and I might not be correct in this, but I thought there was an age that was supposed to be appropriate for Facebook, if I remember, and I think it's somewhere around 18. It's supposed to be, but we all know that is half long ago. My daughter, who is 19, had somebody in school that was 10 that asked a friend, be a friend to her. So I don't know. I guess for me personally, you know your child better. So age appropriate more is how mature is your child. And the damaging part that can come on Facebook and the pictures and tagging, just concerns me. Age appropriate, look at your child. I don't see at least the teenage years, but that's a personal opinion. I realize that, but at least the teenage years, because too much is said and you cannot filter or monitor for the instant messaging. Quite frankly, so much on sex is out there, the chatting, and you may block it, but you would not believe how much they can get by everything. So before the Facebooking, I'd give them a good age to be mature and responsible. I'll give you an example of that. I like to use examples of my own family, but my daughter was on Facebook, and this had been last year, and she had a friend who was on and had some pictures that she didn't feel were the most appropriate. And she talked to me about them, didn't show it to me. Remember, my daughter was, at that time was senior in high school. But I suggested that she call her friend. So she called her friend and commented to her how she felt those pictures were not the most beneficial to upgrade her own self-esteem, and that she might solicit some attention she didn't want. And it was because of that that she took them off. And I was really proud of my daughter for stepping up and taking a stance for somebody she cared about. And I'm guessing probably this girl's mom didn't even know they were on.
So that's the key, to be monitoring as much as possible what's going on also. Okay, another question. My daughter loves to dance, but she wasn't promoted to the next level in her dance class and feels bad. What should I do? Talk to the dance instructor, convince my daughter to try another activity? Any advice here?
First of all, again, go to your child. What does your child feel? How do they feel? Next would be talk to the dance instructor. What are they looking for? And specifically, not necessarily about your daughter, but what qualities, what talents, were there certain things that they were looking for that she maybe didn't accomplish right at that time? Maybe she can do it, but not to the point they were looking for. It's really helpful for children to know what coaches, instructors, teachers are looking for specifically. So maybe if you can, with the instructor, if you feel comfortable one-on-one. But the other thing is going with your daughter and saying we need some time, because children, again, need to watch us model appropriate confrontation. Confrontation isn't bad when it's done in a healthy, positive manner. And children need to see that. And I'm not saying confront right there, but just to address and approach that teacher or that instructor first might be the first step to help with that.
Communication. You keep coming back to your ABCs here, Deanna. Okay. I believe we've covered all the questions submitted to us, but if you have additional questions, you can call Deanna at the number on your screen, 319-861-7737. Now, you may get a voice message, but Deanna will return your call, and it will be very confidential. Now, a tape of this program will be available at www.mercycare.org/live, and you can always check this website for information about future webinars as well as listen to past webinars, such as we mentioned earlier about the bullying. Now, our next webinar, Caring for Your Aging Parents, with Brenda Hogan, Mercy Nurse Manager at Hallmar and Private Duty, and Colleen Nipper, Physical Therapist, will be Tuesday, September 13th at noon, and again, available at the website. They'll take your questions live after their presentation. I think that's all for questions. Deanna, anything else? Last words of wisdom?
I just want to thank you, Lynn, again, and thank you to Mercy for the opportunity to do this. I'm just going to say, parents, go forth with pride, with confidence in yourself as parents. Look at who you are as a parent and reflect that to your children, again, to build that healthy self-esteem. Start now. Start now, work in the ABCs, and send your child off with a hug and a smile and a pat on the back when they go to school this year.
Excellent advice. Well, thank you, Deanna, and thank you all for joining us today.